One of the key announcements at the G20 Summit in New Delhi was that of an economic corridor between India, West Asia and Europe. It's been seen as a response to China's Belt and Road Initiative and a game changer for global trade. But just how feasible is this plan? Our correspondent Jodie Cohen takes a closer look.
The vision is that the economic corridor will one day involve transport, energy and communications, a modern version of the ancient spice route, speeding up trade links between India and Europe by up to 40% and having potential geopolitical implications too.
Today I'm proud to announce that we've finalized a historic agreement for a new India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. As a key part of this corridor, we're going to invest in ships and rail that extends from India all the way to Europe, connected by the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel.
Israel and Saudi Arabia, the names of two countries that don't have official relations, said in the same sentence. The possibility of this route was discussed last week at a tripartite between Israel, Cyprus and Greece, and in calls between Israel and counterparts in Turkey, Egypt and the US. Prime Minister Netanyahu called it the greatest cooperation project in Israel's history.
The State of Israel will contribute its capabilities, all of its experience, momentum and commitment to realize the largest cooperation project in our history. All government ministries will be instructed to join in realizing this dream. Today is a day of major news for all citizens of Israel. News that will lead us to a new, unique and unprecedented era of global and regional cooperation and involvement. Together we will succeed.
But the announcement wasn't expected this quickly, so is it being rushed for the Democrats to score a goal before the US presidential election starts? Is it even feasible? What are the bottlenecks? Let's take a look on a map. The corridor would extend from India by boat to the UAE and Saudi Arabia, onto Jordan and Israel, and from there to Europe. Except for a rail line in Saudi Arabia, the corridor is said to be almost already complete and can soon begin trading. Would the initiative be vulnerable to Iranian presence in Syria, both being countries that don't have ties with Israel? What will China's response be? There is also talk of whether this corridor makes normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia more likely, and, in a first, Israeli officials are visiting Saudi Arabia for a UNESCO conference.
The corridor that was announced at the G20 to connect India to Europe through the Middle East, I think is good for all the countries of the region. It's good for Israel, for Saudi Arabia, for the UAE, and it's also good for the Palestinians. More cooperation is more prosperity. That's good for everyone here and beyond.
I'm at an international security conference in Israel and spoke to Israeli National Security Advisor Tzachi Hanegbi to hear his thoughts.
When it comes to railway, you always have to make sure the railway is secured. It's not going to be, I think, a problem in Saudi Arabia or in the Emirates. It might be a problem in Jordan, where you have sometimes enemies of peace and progress. In Israel, I'm sure we will be able to secure the railway in 100% success.
I also spoke with other experts at the conference for their perspectives.
That once such a transportation track will be established, there will be a common interest of all the neighboring states here which are involved, starting with those that I've mentioned, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, but other countries as well that would use this track to improve their economy. There will be a joint interest to work together in order to have better security, better economical cooperation, and maybe better diplomatic relations than it is today.
Hanegbi said that this initiative requires a dialogue with the Palestinians, and Israel is trying to reach an agreement with them on security aspects. The project has wider geopolitical implications, with the potential to include Bangladesh and as far afield as Vietnam, where President Biden is visiting now, and Thailand and Myanmar, if Myanmar agrees, given their links with China. Commentators are also suggesting that the corridor could weaken ties between China and Saudi Arabia, Arabia, and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has stayed on in India for a state visit aimed at strengthening bilateral ties with India. This is Jodie Cohen for WION World is One.